Good evening, everybody. It's David Schlotthauer here. I hope you're doing great. Happy New Year for those that are tuning in. Well, on the East Coast, it is Happy New Year. But if you're in Central Time, you have another about 20 minutes before you ring in the new year. This is a special pop-up live stream solely because of the new year. And I decided, you know what? Since I'm not doing much other than just sitting on my computer, why not? Let's do a live stream. But we're going to be talking about this major winter storm. It just kind of goes perfect with what we're talking about here. And it makes sense that, hey, it's a new year. Let's talk about this snowstorm. And yeah, 2025 is not going to start off very good for a lot of people that live in the Midwest. So, of course, we are going to be tracking this, and we're going to be talking about this winter storm because a lot of you are wondering how significant this is actually going to be because we have some new model updates. And I wanted to show you all the 18Z GFS. Oh, my goodness. You guys would literally laugh your butt off as hard as you can. And by the way, just tuned in to Weather on the Go. I would really highly recommend checking him out too throughout the stream if you want to. He's actually talking about this winter storm too, and that's what inspired me that, you know what, let's do it too, right? I was seeing if anyone would go live tonight and talk about this winter storm on top of Happy New Year, and no one did until he did it, and I'm like, oh, let's do it too, you know? So hey, me and him are both live right now. So here's a look at the European model, and a lot of you in the chat on my last video were saying that, oh, this is not going to happen. Don't worry about it. Theoretically, it may not happen, but also more likely it will happen. And this is the time of the year that we could get some crazy wild weather pattern changes coming. And so here's a look at the European model. Let me get my Epic pin out. I want to make sure you guys could hear me just fine. If I sound a little too quiet, just let me know. So, take a look at the Euro now. So, let's go out to, first of all, for your New Year's Day, because a lot of you are probably going to be doing some barbecuing, whatnot, right? Maybe doing your late New Year's Day parties, like maybe tomorrow afternoon, and it looks pretty good. Although if you are in the Northeast, you're gonna want to keep an eye on the sky because that's where you're gonna be seeing some snow coming on down pretty hefty, especially if you're in Vermont, New Hampshire, Maine. You're gonna be getting some pretty decent snowfall out of this system on the 1st of January. Yes, the 1st of January, getting some snow, and also more snow for the Intermountain West, including for California yet again. Now, I want you all to do me a favor. If you're watching this, say, from Oregon, from Idaho, if you're watching this from, say, Crescent City, California, I want you to do this for me. Go outside and just stand out in the rain, because this will be the last time you see rain probably for a few weeks. And I'm saying a few weeks. That's 3 weeks, folks, because the ridge is going to be a nuisance and it's going to be a problem. So yeah, enjoy it because it's not going to be back after this. So actually, you're going to continue to see rain actually through Friday, and then that's going to be the end of it, right? Because that system is going to be moving on out. So yeah, in theory, after we get past Saturday, that's going to be the end of it. Now, let's go into the Midwest because that's where we are keeping an eye on that winter storm. And let me make sure I'm zoomed in. Here we go. So, of course, things go from Pacific Northwest into the high plains. And what we're keeping an eye on is this storm system that everyone's been talking about, including myself. I don't think it's going to be historic. I don't see that happening now, but it is going to be very significant by all means, okay? We are talking about some significant ice accumulations in narrow swath that I'll show you. We're talking significant snowfall accumulations, and worst of all, you're also going to see some sleet in the mix of that snow and ice. So it's going to be a wintry mix for some of you, or it's going to be just snow. And lastly, we're going to have to keep an eye on the severe weather too, because I'm getting a little concerned about what the Deep South may be dealing with after going through a moderate risk of severe weather too. So looking at the European model, what you're looking at here is three different, well, there would be a fourth one here, but it's not showing up here on this model run. This is the 0Z Euro, by the way. This is currently rendering as I am making this live stream, or as we're live streaming this right now. And you have three different colors. So first of all, you have your rain. That's the green. The pink is the freezing rain. And the blue, that's going to be your snow that's coming down. All right. And so your snow is going to, in theory, start falling probably in the mid-morning hours. I would say about, 9 or 10 o'clock in the morning if you're in the Dakotas. If you're in, say, Nebraska, you're going to get a little bit of snow that's going to start off. But I'm telling you all, this is just the beginning. This is just the start of what is going to be a big winter storm. Yes, and it has to come in time for our brand new spanking year, right? That's why I don't believe New Year's anymore, because it's just going to get ruined again. I don't want to say it's going to get ruined, but a new year means new goals, new, new solutions to your problems. You know what I mean. And new revolutions. That's the word that I was looking for. All right. So as we go forward here into day 4, this is for your Saturday. And you can see right here, this is where your freezing rain is going to be developing, because we have our warm front that is going to be draped across the area. You get these southerly winds that are going to be streaming in. And so what your problem here is, at the surface, you get northeasterly flow underneath this southerly flow that wants to override that. This is why there's going to be this swath of freezing rain that is going to develop. And how freezing rain works is, in the mid-levels of the atmosphere, snow starts off underneath a cloud. It melts to rain in the mid-levels, right? Well, kind of at the 700 millibar, maybe a little lower than that. And then once it reaches the surface and it hits an object like a mailbox, a car, or simply you, it freezes upon contact, not on your body, because your body's warm enough where the ice will not be able to have time to freeze, but, on other objects, it will freeze instantaneously, and that's what our freezing rain is going to be. But going forward here, this thing blows up. Yes, it blows up like a firework, because we have fireworks going on outside my home weather office. Right, there's one over there in the distance. Yeah, pretty, isn't it? Maybe you heard that on camera, maybe you didn't. But yeah, people are lighting off fireworks. That's how New Year's is here, I guess, in Cali, right? So Sunday morning, you're waking up, and there is going to be the risk for some of this heavy freezing rain. And I'm not joking when I say freezing rain. This could be pretty significant, enough to where not only will it accumulate, but might not melt either. We're going to have some colder air in the wake of this system, to where once it accumulates, it's not going to melt, and it's just going to stick on trees, power lines, and even your roof. And if there's enough of it, it could cause infrastructure damage. Yeah, things can become a problem on utility roofs. You know how they have the roofs, and I'm not thinking of the roofs where they're pointy, but I'm thinking of the roofs that are flat. And sometimes you just get the idea. Some buildings have that roof layout, and then sometimes it can really accumulate and put a lot of weight and cause problems. So this is the sort of system that is significant in a number of ways. Okay, it's significant because we're going to have ice. It's going to be significant because we're going to have a lot of snow. Now, people in my last video and yesterday's video says this is not going to be significant. Not everyone, but a couple of people said that this is not going to be significant. I don't know what you're talking about, or you don't know what you're talking about. I know what I'm talking about. I've been doing this for 20 plus years, and I know what I'm looking for. Significant may not be for Arkansas or, say, Mississippi or Louisiana, but maybe areas up here have it more significant in the fact that freezing rain is going to cause a lot of problems. And this is no joke. This is dark pink colors. This is moderate to heavy freezing rainfall that accumulates on objects. And then, of course, to the north of that, you're going to have quite a bit of snowfall. And lastly, you're going to have some strong winds. These winds are going to be pretty strong coming in out of the northerly direction because we have an Arctic high pressure system up here. We have our low pressure system up down here. Between the two, you get a tighter gradient. And that is going to be the ingredient behind, well, why we see snow, because we get moisture fleeing or being flung on the northern side, what we call isotropic ascent that actually ends up happening, because that means, well, when you have a warm front, okay, the air is being forced to kind of gradually rise. So the air is actually rising and it condenses, and then that moisture gets flung around the system. So even so, that pressure rises happen here, you're actually going to get quite a bit of snowfall, and the wind is going to be pretty intense. Look at our surface wind here. You can see right in here, we have winds of about 15 to 30 miles an hour. That's pretty strong. And then when you combine that with the heavy snowfall, maybe some freezing rain, yeah, it's not going to be a day where you just want to go outside and, well, you can go outside your house and probably enjoy it, but I wouldn't be driving out in this because the visibility is going to come down and the wind is going to come up and it's going to be cold. It's going to be a colder system, unlike past systems where we have had systems doing more kind of like this, where they kind of go this way. They don't have a whole lot of oomph with them to bring down colder air. In fact, you get more warmer air being advected. That's what has happened here with our recent severe weather event that we had a few days ago because of that that scenario. Now, in this case, this thing is going to be cut across, get this colder air that comes in out of the north, and it really leads to a lot of issues. Now, I don't want to confuse you all. Let's actually go to the east. Some YouTubers, I'm not going to say who they are. I don't like calling out people. I'm not here to do that. I don't want you all to get confused. This is not the system, okay? This is not the winter storm that will be causing a nor'easter. We're not talking any about historic blizzards, deadly blizzards. We're not talking anything about a massive, historic, once-in-a-lifetime blizzard up here. No, this is not that type of storm that's going to lead to that. I don't want you to get confused, folks, about that this system is that one that's going to be the issue. This system is going to cut across, and it's going to be going this way, okay? It's going to be going east. It's not going to be able to wrap in and hit like Maine. It'll be like a classic nor'easter. This is going to be developing in the Midwest, and it's going to be moving this way. So by, say, Tuesday, the system is offshore and it's not impacting the Northeast. Okay, so just be aware on which YouTube channel you watch. I would really recommend watching Weather on the Go. He has never really hyped this up at all. I have not tried to hype this up. I'll tell you, yesterday's video, I did go over the top a little bit. I did say historic, until I did a little bit more further digging around and did a little bit more research on the system. Then I'm like, okay, we're going to tone it down a little bit. So this is not going to be, it doesn't meet the definition of historic. Maybe in some sense it might be in a localized community, but as far as a historic winter storm, you would need 4, maybe 3 or 4 feet of snow, 2 or 3 inches of ice, and 30 to 50 mile an hour winds. Then we could all say it's going to be historic. But it doesn't matter if it's historic or not. This will be substantial, okay? This will be a very highly impactful winter storm. Nonetheless, because for one thing, you have yet to see your first snowfall, more significant snowfall of the winter season. And secondly, it's I mean, it's January, it's after Christmas. It's a good thing it did not occur on Christmas Day or, say, New Year's Day. Well, this is not New Year's Day, but you get the general thinking here that it's not impacting any holiday plans. This is going to be more of the second weekend or the first weekend of January, but not occurring on New Year's Day, if that makes sense. That's today. So that moves offshore, okay, and that's what the euro shows. Now, you all are wondering, well, David, you forgot one thing. What about the GFS model? And part of these live streams, I want to show you all on what different model solutions have in mind. Things have been wiggling around a little bit. Let me just show you that, okay? So this is, let's go to Ohio, because this is where it kind of develops here in the Ohio Valley. So let's go over to here. Yeah, is this right? Yeah, okay. This is, yeah, I'm on the same time. So there is still some discrepancy and timing issues, as well as some magnitude issues with the system. So this is a Euro model, painting a picture, and I'm going to outline this, and I'm going to stick up my pin here. I'm going to keep this overhead so you all can see. All right, so this is basically showing us where there's snow and where there's freezing rain. So the red here is where the freezing rain actually is. So let's go over to the GFS. Yeah, there's timing differences. So where we have the freezing rain and snow on the Euro does not align very well, say areas like Missouri. Missouri gets it in both models, but timing differences. So on the GFS, it arrives a little later. Okay, this has been the thing. The Euro has it faster, the GFS has it slower, and it's been that way for a little while now. So the whole question here is which model is right? That's a tough thing. Is the GFS on to something or is the Euro on to something? Okay, and in this case, we really don't know right now. All I can say is, in my experience, I would say the Euro generally does a pretty good job, as well as the GFS. These two models handle these winter storms fairly good, not completely good all the time, you know, because there's some discrepancies. And first of all, the system, and I'll show it to you here on satellite where that system actually is at and why that might be complicating things a little bit. I want to wish you all a happy new year, by the way, in Central Standard Time Zone. So Illinois, welcome, happy new year. Happy new year to you in Wisconsin. Well, in about a couple of minutes. Illinois, all of the Midwest sections are happy new year. Isn't that funny? You guys are into the future. You guys, it's 2025 for you, and here it's 2024. It sucks, doesn't it? We get 2024 a little longer than you guys do. Well, it's even just about anywhere you go. But yeah, happy new year to you viewers, to you that is watching this live stream. Please share this with your family and friends on social media. We will be live until my new year. That is in 2 hours. If you have any questions, if you want to donate and show your support, subscribe to the channel. You are more than welcome to. All right, so looking at the GFS model, there's a freezing rain. So one thing in common, seems like the Missouri, Southern Illinois area, Kentucky, seem to be in the worst of this, even including, say, Eastern Kansas. So it's this strip right in here that has the best chances of freezing rain. Okay, so does the GFS model hang on to that? Now down here, it becomes a little more uncertain because you have valley influences where, you know, you get cooler air that gets trapped in these valleys. Like, say, if you're in Raleigh, kind of to the west there, some of these sheltered areas, the cold air doesn't want to mix out, right? It's dense, it's more resilient, it's an inversion. So where that colder air remains well intact, that's where you're going to have the best chances of seeing some freezing rain in some of these valleys. Here it's more certain that more than likely Kentucky and portions of West Virginia will see some freezing rain. But down here, it's a little more tricky because of those valley influences and the inversions that take place. Remember, the air is a fluid and cold air is like, well, denser water, if you will. Okay, it's like a superfluid. It's not literally a superfluid, but you know what I'm talking about, right? So yes, freezing rain is an issue. Certainly, it's been in the models for a while. Trends to the south or to the north are expected because we're still a little over about 5 to 6 days out here. But again, I wanted to really clear up the confusion. This is not a nor'easter. This is not a northeast event, although you do get lake effect snow coming off Lake Michigan, Lake Erie, Lake Ontario, these Great Lakes, Lake Huron, Lake Superior. The biggest snow happens with this system down here in the Midwest. Okay, and then look what happens. It's gone, but look it also takes until Tuesday morning versus a Euro model. You know, if we go into the future here, it clears out Monday afternoon. So it's almost about 6 to 12, maybe about 12 hours slower on the GFS. Now, what about the Canadian model? Let's take a look at the Canadian. And what I like to do here is go here. This is about when I would like to compare these models. I think there's a model comparison, isn't there? Yeah, there is. I believe there is. Okay, perfect. There is a comparison. I'll have to bring that up. Now, we're all new to this. So let's go back to here. Okay, yeah, there we go. So, yeah. Look at the difference. So, GFS is slowest. The Euro is the fastest. And the Canadian's kind of in the middle with this. And these are all 0Z outputs tonight. So, you can see on the Canadian, the freezing rain still hitting that southern Missouri area. The borderline is right in here. And actually does pretty good at simulating the sleet here. This classic Neapolitan. Say it with me, folks. Neapolitan. You get your vanilla. You get your strawberry. You get your, what is it? You see vanilla, strawberry, chocolate, and what else? Maybe mint. We'll have to add mint, because snow is kind of like mint to me because it's cold. It's kind of wintry, Christmas feeling. So we have our Neapolitan flavor type storm here that takes place. And this is pretty substantial. I mean, this is pretty dark. As far as your freezing rain goes, especially in Kentucky, I mean, that is right here. That's really dark in those pink colors. So my message to you all is that anywhere literally in this swath, it's just going to be, it's not going to be pretty. Traveling across country, north to south on I-80 is just not going to be good. You're going to have freezing rain. Spinouts are going to happen. That's unavoidable at this point. There will be spinouts. I guarantee there will be at least 1 or 2 spinouts in these areas, because people, of course, don't understand the dangers. I'm not saying you don't, but there are people out there that don't understand the dangers of freezing rain. It's like an ice skating rink. Your car's going to go sliding unless you have good snow tires that might be able to kind of punch through the ice, but that too may not completely avoid the problems. And then, of course, up here to the north, you get heavy snow, and that means, well, blizzards, strong winds, power outages too. Well, power outages throughout the northern end of this system because it's going to be just simply windy. And then the colder air comes in on the back side of this. Then as we go forward here, and by the way, this would be Sunday. So the good news, at least to some extent, is that your morning commute here would probably be more snow than rain, and then freezing rain. But the problem here is there will be ice on the roadways, and that's just going to freeze because it's going to stay cold. It's going to stay below freezing for the entire system. And I'll show you here temperatures in a second. And then this moves out but also it takes pretty much it kind of lingers in some areas here, like in, say, New Jersey, Delaware, Maryland. It kind of lingers through about Tuesday, but some areas down here it clears a little sooner. More snow now, no more freezing rain because, well, colder air is advancing more. And freezing rain is because you get a warm front, and it always occurs typically with a warm front because that's where a warm front, the air mass is more shallow. So if you think of a warm front, you can kind of think of it like this. So if I imagine this is the ground here, your warm front is slanted like this. So your warm air is able to rise up, and then your colder air, it's slower, but it moves. It doesn't move very fast. And then whatever precipitation, the shallower the colder air, the more likely you have freezing rain. And then the deeper the cold air, that's when you get into sleet. And then when the whole column of the atmosphere is below 32 degrees, that's when you get snow. So that's why you get different precipitation effects depending on where you're at. When it rains, the entire column is above freezing, and then so on and so forth. All right, so now how much snow could you see fresh out of the press here? Now, the Euro, pretty aggressive. Now, this would probably be more of a 10-1 ratio snow. At least, let's actually, you know what? I got a cool tool that I want to show you all. Let's do this. So let's bring this up. Let's use, GFS should hopefully have it. I hope so. There is where do they have that? They used to have it where you can see the different ratios. I guess they don't have it any more. I guess they don't. Oh yeah, right here. So, oh good, they do have it on the GFS. All right, so this is really helpful. So let me go out to the whole US so we can just see the whole thing instead of just looking at a sector. So, of course, the colder the air is, it's less water content in the snow, so it's going to be more fluffy. It's going to accumulate more faster than water content does in the snow. So lower ratios mean a wetter snow versus higher ratios indicate a drier snow. That's why if you're in the Arctic, you'll notice it's more powdery. It's not a problem. It's very light and fluffy. It just comes right off the trees with even a light wind. Sometimes it's referred to as diamond dust snow because it's just like really, really powdery, like diamonds. And so what we have here is this system. So to the north, the system is, this is Monday. Actually, this is when it's, I think this is it right here. I want to make sure I got this straight. Okay, 120 hours out. So about 120 hours out, you can see to the north of this, you do have your 10-1 ratio, so I should have been using that, not the Kachira snow. That's like more up in here. So more of this will be in your 10-1 ratio, but still accumulating about a foot in some of these areas. So more of a wet snow, but if we have any more colder air that's able to swoop underneath all of this, then we could have more higher ratios. Again, higher the ratio, like up in here, like in, say, Saskatchewan, Manitoba, you got almost a 30-1 ratio. So 30 inches of snow equals 1 inch of water equivalent. That's why sometimes you'll hear the term dry snow and wet snow. Wet snows have lower ratios. Like down here, like say if it is able to snow even for a brief amount of time, this is a 2-1 ratio snow amount. So for every 2 inches of rain or snow you get 1 inch of water equivalent. That's a really, really wet snow. So this is a cool product where, well, we can see what different air masses mean for different snow amounts. So say you get snow, you get an Arctic system that comes out of the north like this one. This is almost 40-1 ratio. So 40 inches of snow means 1 inch of accumulating rainfall. So this is a good product to actually use from the college dew page, because that really helps out. Actually, it just helped me out a little bit here with exactly how much snow you can get. And right here, we're looking at about a foot, maybe a foot and a half. Now, if we get any more colder air, like up to the north here, might accumulate a little bit more. Now, for those that are curious about Kachira, again, I've yet to figure what formula it uses, if it's like a 20-1 or if it's a 30-1 or a 40-1 ratio. I'd probably assume it's probably like a 15-1 or a 20-1 ratio of equivalent. But in this case, we're probably not going to use this now, since what we were basing our models off of is that this is going to be more of a 10-1, maybe an 11 or 12-1 ratio snowfall or snowstorm. But nonetheless, a foot of snow, did I say snall? Oh my gosh. A foot of snow will cause a lot of problems. And honestly, the snow is one thing, but the freezing rain, that's a nail biter. That's going to be a problem right there. Okay, and wait until you see the amount of ice that could really be a problem. And I'm going to kind of teach you all on what this all means. Okay, because models show one thing, other models will show another. So let's go back to this. So looking at the 10-1 ratio on the GFS, a little more aggressive. Yeah, this is 10-1 ratio. See that right there? 10-1 ratio. And that is 20 inches. I think that's 20 inches right over here in the metro area of St. Louis. That's a lot of snow. In the arch, the Silver Arch, the welcoming arch into the gateway of St. Louis. Wow. Impressive, right? That's a lot of snow. And then, of course, across much of the northern half of Missouri, in this little pocket, you can get a foot plus of snowfall. And then, of course, in the West Virginia area, you can get a lot of snow. I wanted to welcome everybody. Happy New Year for those that are in the Central Time Zone. Happy New Year to you, Tyler Bass or Tyler Miglianti. Happy New Year, Chazard. Colleen. Happy New Year, Gary. Happy New Year, JD Rapp. Excuse me. I had In-N-Out tonight, so yeah, I'm a little full from that. Happy New Year, Rockets. Mama, Judah, Happy New Year to you. Hurricane Lee, Happy New Year. So, yeah, and it's a coincidence that I'm going live on this. I will have a video out tomorrow on this system, by the way. I will have a lot of updates because this is pretty significant, and it needs the attention. All right, so now looking at the Canadian. So we looked at the GFS on snowfall totals. The Canadian is a little bit not as bullish. Yeah, we'll go through Tuesday morning here. Generally, many areas here about a foot or less. Some areas here are almost 13 inches. Now, over here in, say, Erie, Pennsylvania, that's 2 feet of snow. Well, that's from the lake effect snow like we talked about. There will be lake effect snow issues. So if you're in a lake effect snow prone area, keep that in mind, that you will have significant accumulations, possibly mere feet, 1 to 2, maybe 3 feet of snowfall accumulation in very isolated areas. I mean, one of my friends that talked to me 3 weeks ago, he was in, what town was it? Let me go to Google Maps here. It was near Erie, Pennsylvania, and I wanted to kind of give you all an example on lake effect snow here. Oswego, so Oswego, I got that correctly. In New York, Oswego only had an inch of snow or a couple of inches, but not far to the north east, like Port Ontario and say Woodville had 2 to 4 feet of snow. That's how it works with lake effect snow. You may be in one area, there's no snow at all. And then you may be in another area, there could be a lot of snow. So keep that in mind. Yeah, big time snowfall accumulations here in the lake effect prone areas. Even so that most of the storm snow, I call it, related to the storm itself will pass mostly to your south. don't be afflicted if you do get a lot more of these accumulations here in Oswego, in Erie, Pennsylvania, and then if you're in Watertown, Buffalo, you can get also a lot of snow. So now, everyone's wondering about the freezing rain, and this is really, 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 really significant. So let's go to, yeah, this covers it pretty well. Can you all see that? I think, yeah, I can see it fine on my end. So there's a lot of ice here, and some of you are saying, oh my gosh, 3/4 of an inch. Oh my goodness, maybe an inch, maybe an inch and a half. Now, these numbers, to be exact, are probably a little bit on the hyper end side because it doesn't take into consideration there is some minor melting that does occur. Because keep in mind, right when a water drop hits ice on the ground, that water droplet in theory is in liquid form. So in theory, yes, it's below freezing, but it gives off a teeny bit, just a teeny. I hope you guys can even hear that. I love how I say my teenies, right? But it gives off a little bit of latent heat release, all right? And that allows for even a nanometer of melting of a film of surface of water. So in other words, if you get heavy freezing rain, it might not accumulate to 2 inches. All right, it might be only about an inch, maybe an inch and a tenth, maybe an inch and a quarter. Okay, so these amounts probably a little bit on the bullish side, and I'm thinking anything about a 1/4 of an inch to maybe a 1/2 an inch in these areas. Now, there could be some isolated areas that might see more than a 1/2 an inch of freezing rain in these little pockets in some of these counties that are more prone to some of the effects of some radiational cooling or boundary layer cooling. And then, of course, over here, you might see between about a 1/4 to maybe a 1/2 an inch of ice. But the thing here is, don't worry worry, of course, but don't focus on exact amounts, because anything more than a 1/2 an inch of ice will certainly take down trees. So there will be a lot of trees coming down, branches breaking off, kind of an apocalypse going on, like an ice storm apocalypse, just kind of creepy where you can just hear ice falling off trees and branches coming down, right? There could also be some infrastructure damage, so like utility lines coming down. Your internet could come down because if it uses fiber optic lines that kind of go from pole to pole, those could come down too, and you lose your power maybe for maybe a week or more, because what I'm about to show you clearly states that there's no thaw behind this ice storm. Unlike other ice storms, things thaw out nicely. In this case, might be really hard to see any thawing out. All right, and I'm really concerned about those temperatures that come in the wake of this, because without power, well, you can't turn on your furnace, you can't run your fire. Well, you could run your fireplace if it's on gas. So if gas is on a separate line, then you kind of have some luck there. But if you don't have a fireplace and you're without power, then there's a lot of problems that can arise throughout that, okay? And keep in mind, if you do run your generator, do not run it in your garage in an enclosed space, because carbon monoxide, you don't smell that stuff. It is a silent killer. Basically, if you start feeling the effects of carbon monoxide, you start developing symptoms, could almost be too late, all right? So make sure you do not keep your generator running inside your garage or an enclosed space. Pretty stupid to run your generator inside your living room or inside the kitchen, all right? Do not be that type of person, because again, there will be a lot of generators being used because of this. Power is going to go out to a lot of residents. In fact, over a few million people, or actually probably 10 plus million people could be without power, depending on how much ice accumulates in this area. Okay, so now let's look at the GFS model. So the GFS compared to the Euro a little bit more aggressive, especially over here. And then the GFS a little weaker, a little not as intense with the freezing rain in Kentucky, Virginia, West Virginia area. Still seeing about 1/10 to 1/4 of an inch. So 1/4 of an inch will likely bring down a few trees and power lines. It's not a substantial, historic, whatever you want to call it, ice storm event, but it is enough to at least lead to scattered power outages. Now, in this area right in here, eastern Kansas into, say, Missouri, that's more of a ground zero where you could have more longevity power outages, because here in this area, you might see more than 1/2 an inch of ice. In some instances, might see even 6 or 7/10 of an inch of ice. Again, think about a ruler. Okay, in a rough estimate, this right here is almost an inch. I'm estimating, all right, eyeballing it, right? Think about that. From the top of this name tag that I have to the top, the bottom to the top, it's about 3/4 of an inch to an inch. So you got to think about, wow, that is a lot of ice. And think about that. That's putting weight on trees, on your power lines, on your roof, as well as on your car. While your car is not going to be that an issue because it's a metal roof that you have, I guess if you have enough of it, it might indent the roof a little bit. It's a possibility, but good luck getting into your car, right? You wouldn't even be able to open your door. Which reminds me, make sure, okay, I want you to do some homework for me. Bring your cars into your garage, okay? Do not keep them out because, yes, ice loves to stick to things, and it will stick to your car and your car handle. So if you're wondering, I want to get to work or I want to get somewhere, I just want to go down the street for a couple, just drive maybe a mile to the store. It's not going to be that long, but you're still driving, right? You need to make sure you bring your car inside the garage so there is no ice accumulation on that. I've watched YouTube videos where people spend hours trying to open a car door because there's ice on it. Okay, so don't be that victim and having a hard time getting into your car because, well, I decided I will keep my car out and let's just see what happens. You can try it, but I'll tell you, you will be very sorry once it does accumulate and you can't get your car door open fast enough. All right, so now on the Canadian model. This is the most bullish model run. Okay, this is the third one that we're looking at, the Euro. We looked at the GFS, now the Canadian. Really, I mean, this is probably deja vu down here in the southern side of Missouri. Some areas down here could get close to an inch of ice. That's a lot. That's a lot of ice, and that will undoubtedly, man, tongue twister for me. I don't know if you guys can say it without messing up, right? That will really lead to a lot of problems. I mean, widespread power outages, widespread tree damage, roof collapses as well, utility property could be affected as well. And then down here in southern Ohio, Indiana, in Kentucky, oh my goodness. Possibly between 1/10 to 1/4 of an inch, maybe 1/2 an inch of ice down here in central Kentucky. Yeah, I'm not surprised. And then, of course, in the northern end here of, say, Mississippi, Alabama, and Georgia, still in question of how much ice you're going to get. A glaze won't do much, but if you get, say, maybe 0.05 of an inch of ice, that will do something. That will cause a little bit of problems. Isolated power disruptions are certainly a possibility. So now that we talked about the ice, whoa, boy, we have 800 people watching. If you guys are new to the stream, hit the like button and also subscribe to the YouTube channel. I do appreciate all the support tonight you guys are giving me on this wonderful New Year's Eve. Some of you, New Year's Day. Welcome to the stream, by the way. So now, we talked about the snow, the freezing rain. Do you want me to show you all the sleet? I don't know if sleet interest. Well, it must be interesting to a lot of people. Sleet, by the way, is frozen water droplets in the air. So it's almost like freezing rain. It starts off as snow in the mid to upper levels. It melts to rain, and then it has time. So that water droplet has time to freeze in the air, in mid-air, before it hits the ground. So it's like ice pellets. It bounces off of things. It doesn't usually accumulate, but when it meets up with ice on the roadways, it really makes things even more dangerous, more treacherous. It just makes things not safe, all right? Sleet is not the issue that leads to power outages unless it really does accumulate. But what really does is that freezing rain. So let's actually go over to sleet accumulation right here. Let's actually look at the Euro because it's more high definition. So you can see on the Euro, sleet accumulations here anywhere between about 1/10 to 1/2 inch on the ground here. So that would be enough to make things a little dangerous on top of the freezing rain and on top of the snow. Don't forget about the snow that comes with this. And then when we look at the GFS, oh my goodness, what is the GFS on? You might ask, well, just south of St. Louis, southwest of there, 3 inches? No, that's not going to happen. You're not going to get 3 inches of sleet. More like maybe about 1 inch of sleet could accumulate on the ground here. And then let's look at the Canadian, right? The Canadian, pretty bullish in the same area, but only now stretching in a very narrow quadrant here, where you might get about 1/2 inch to maybe 1 inch. Again, these numbers are really bullish. I don't think there will be 3 inches of sleet, but I may be wrong. I may be right, but I'll tell you what right now. There will be a lot of problems here. Freezing rain, sleet, and snow. A wintry mix will make things pretty testy to a lot of your driving lessons, right? How well can you drive in this if you have to drive in it? Hopefully you do not need to drive in it, because if you drive in it, I sure hope you get back safely, because there's a chance you might hit another car. You don't want your car insurance to have to chip in, right? You don't want your car insurance going up because you hit another car because you're slipping and sliding on the ground, right? So now, with that being said, let's take a look at our temperatures. Let's just use a GFS, and we're going to start somewhere. We're going to start, we're going to go and let's actually look at our Fantasyland 18Z GFS, and a lot of you are probably going to be like, laughing at me about this. Yeah, it's Fantasyland, and this made some headlines. I did post about it on Twitter, okay? And we know this winter storm, right, is coming through. What about the next one? And I showed Alter this, and I almost wanted to show Pat this. He would probably be like, holy macaroni. Why don't you look at that? Why don't you look at that and you ask me, like, what in the name of GFS... Who are you? Who are you, you know? Yeah, 3 inches of sleet is very unlikely. I do agree on that, Pat. By the way, for those that are tuning in, I will have a video out tomorrow morning, okay? I'm getting ahead of myself here. We're going to have to do probably 2 updates a day on this ice storm because it's pretty substantial. One video in the morning and then a live stream in the evening. I know, Pat, I know. But we like to stare at these things, right? This is Fantasyland, 270 hours out. Not going to happen. Don't even say it's going to happen, folks, because it's not going to happen. You know what? I'm not going to say the YouTube channel. There's a YouTuber out there that will say, oh, this is going to be deadly. This is going to be a historic snowstorm. Make you a bet. Want to make a bet that the YouTuber is probably going to make a video on this specific model run. It's not going to happen, because if it does happen, it will make some of the biggest headlines known to man. Because look at the trough that comes down. I mean, these are your height anomalies, and this is one heck of a polar vortex going really far south. And to make this easier, height basically is the height of the 500 millibar level from the 500 millibar level down to the surface. So your lower heights mean, well, the air is colder typically, right? Because you're going to find your atmosphere. What is the word? I can't even comprehend, but you get the idea. Lower heights, colder temperatures usually, and more interesting weather. And what this shows is a fantasy landstorm. I mean, we get down to 486 decameters. Yeah, not going to happen. You could already say not going to happen because, boy, if that did happen, that would be one for the record books. And then let's take a look here at our polar vortex, our temperatures. I mean, come on. It's almost 60 degrees below average in Georgia and the Carolinas. I'm going to laugh because it's not going to happen. Because, yeah, you're talking temperatures in the single digits in northern Florida. Come on. Like, seriously, GFS? Like, what are you doing? What in the heck are you doing on that? And here's your wind chill values really quickly, by the way. Yeah, wind chill values in northern Georgia are negative 50 degrees. Like, really? Really? Nah, not going to happen. Not going to happen at all. Because if that did happen, I'll tell you what, a lot of people would probably be getting killed by this because you get frostbite. People don't take it seriously. You know, there's those people that don't take it seriously. You can get frostbite with negative 60 to negative 70 Fahrenheit wind chills. You can get frostbite in like 1 to 3 minutes. It happens very quickly. It really does. So, yeah, and your wind chills in northern Florida would dip down to negative 10, negative 15 degrees. Like, nah, that's not going to happen. Your 500 millibar jet stream, though, is wicked. Look at that. That's a 172 knot mid-level jet cutting across the deep south. Okay, that is incredible right there in the southeast. It's one heck of a polar vortex. So get that out of your mind. That's not going to happen because, whoa, what happened to the next GFS model run? Well, it's not showing that anymore. It literally isn't. You went from this to this. And it makes more sense. You know, models are going all over the place, wild outcomes. But I'll tell you what. Get ready. It's going to be cold either way you put it. Below average temperatures. This is the 0Z GFS model. Still showing temperatures here in Illinois, Indiana, Ohio that are pretty cold. This is 10 days out. So we will need to keep an eye on this to see what models will do with it next if they go more aggressive. Let's look at the Euro model. Yeah, see, the Euro is not going very aggressive. It's going to be cold, though, but not like stupendously cold, right? Not as cold as, well, the GFS, but it's still going to be cold. Your wind chill values are going to be pretty brutal. More kind of like a significant Arctic outbreak, but nothing like historic, because the GFS would be historic on the 18Z run. That's what you call Fantasyland, and that's why sometimes you just got to trust the ensembles, right? And that's why we look at the ensembles right now this far out. And what they are showing right now, in general, 204 hours out, there is pretty stinking good model agreement that Indiana here could have temperatures 25 degrees below average for Thursday morning. Yeah, 25 degrees below normal. And when we actually look at your actual air temperature, that is about 0 degrees Fahrenheit for Thursday morning. This is January the 9th, by the way. So this is really far out. But in general, there is some very cold Arctic air coming. The storm or the Climate Prediction Center has a moderate to high risk for Arctic temperatures east of the Rockies for the next couple of weeks. And that is why we're making videos on this too, not just because of the winter Mageddon storm that we're dealing with, but beyond that, it's going to be cold. And the concerning thing about this is temperatures, let me actually show you all the storm again. Let's go to this, right? Let's go to the Ohio Valley. So this is a storm for Sunday afternoon, right? Or Sunday, yeah, early afternoon. Let's go to your temperature anomalies. We have a problem. Temperatures are below average, right? Watch what happens. The ice doesn't melt. Right in this area, so if we kind of plot an area where the freezing rain moves over, let's plot a little area right about in here. So let's highlight this whole area right in here that sees the freezing rain. And let's go back to temperatures, right? Your temperatures, of course, will be freezing or lower than that. And watch what happens. Temperatures do not get above freezing. So what we're looking at here is the potential that this ice storm, the ice that accumulates, doesn't go away. It just is going to stick to the ground. It's going to stay on trees and power lines. And it could be one of those instances that you could be without power for a week. In some areas, could even be longer than a week. It just depends on which areas thaw out with that ice. And it could take a while here. It might take all the way until the 10th of January. That's even if the European model is family friendly, I guess, and nice enough to get temperatures only a little bit above freezing before they snag down again to the teens. So that is going to be the thing. Once this cold system comes on in and the freezing rain accumulates, it's not going to go away. I'm afraid it's just going to stick and it's going to stay. Your sleet and your snow are also going to stay, and it's going to lead to a lot of problems. It literally is. No, Mobile, Alabama will not get any snow out of this. This storm is not far enough south for that. But yeah, it's going to get cold, though. Definitely some colder air moving in the wake of this system. Hey, I'll tell you, at least it's not as cold as, say, Manitoba, Canada. Flirting there at negative, almost 40 degrees Fahrenheit. That's pretty cold. All the models are still all over the place. Well, the thing here, Chazard, is there is a scenario. All right, the system is going to develop. And how I look at this, okay, is a few things. We know the system is here. The models are seeing it. Actually, you know what? Let me actually go over to the satellite because I wanted to show you all the satellite. By the way, I want to wish you all a happy new year in less than 30 minutes in mountain time. It's going to be New Year's for you guys soon. This is where our system is out here. It's jumbled up. Still out here in the Pacific. This is a system that's going to be hitting us. Let me actually go over. There we go. So this is a system that's jumbled out here. And this is pretty powerful. Look at the spray coming off the ocean. This is some pretty strong winds. The Pacific has been so active for the last month with lots of storms out here. And this storm is going to be hitting the Pacific Northwest. And then it's going to drop on down. And it's going to cause a lot of problems. So it's still out here in the Pacific, and it's going to be making landfall by, say, Thursday and Friday. And once it does, it's going to bring a lot of problems into the Midwest. All right. So that's what that is showing. We know it's there. It's in the modeling. Significant snow for Newark, Ohio. So Newark, Ohio. Let's go to Google. There's a lot of Newarks. A lot of Newarks. There's a Newark in California. Newark, Ohio. So Newark, Ohio. You're going to get a hefty, defty amount of snow according to the Euro. The GFS model, let's take a look at that right now. The GFS also pretty aggressive with that area getting snow. So yeah, you will get snow, probably about 4 to 8 inches, maybe a little more than that. Actually, you might get even a foot of snow out of this storm. What's Southwest Missouri looking like? Oh, you don't even want to know how bad southwestern Missouri is looking like. Actually, far southwestern Missouri could be okay. It depends on where that low sets up. Excuse me, and where that warm front is. If we look actually at the temperatures, you can see where that warm front is, and it's pretty sharp. It's right about in here. So there's a narrow area where it's just rain that develops. But you get into the freezing rain, you're stuck. You're stuck in it. Happy New Year, Outdoor Adventures with Austin Miller. By the way, my New Year's resolution is by the end of 2025. I want you all to guess, how many subscribers will this YouTube channel have by the end of 2025? I could tell you right now, we are almost to 34,000 subscribers. Let's play a guessing game, and I like guessing games. So how many subscribers do you think I will have on December 31st, 2025? Exactly 365 days. You think I'll have 72,000, 50,000, 61,000? Okay, good numbers. Realistic, more so. Looking pretty good. I think your New Year's resolution is to have 95,000 subs. 95,000, I don't think I'll get there by the end of this year. Hey, you know what? Anything's possible. 75,000, that's not out of the realm of possibility. My goal, my New Year's resolution goal, or this year's resolution goal, that is to reach at least, let's see, where I'm at, 33,000. So if I get, say, 25,000 subs, 33, 43, 53, I would say 60,000. I'm betting on 60,000 subscribers by the end of 2025. Now, we got to get past that goal, right? That's just the goal for the channel, you know? I'm not going to hit 2.7 million subs. Ryan Hall, y'all, has not done it in a year, by the way. It took him like... Is the guy even actually... he's at 2 million. I haven't even seen his channel in like forever. It's been like ages. I think he is already at 2 million. I may be wrong. Again, I have not watched him in for like ever. I've been really busy, so... Okay, he is at 2.3 million subs. So it took him like 4 years to even get there. So yeah, getting him 2 million subs a year is pretty much impossible in the weather community. It really is. If this forecast hits 100%, you'll be at the forefront in the weather community. Thank you so much, Paul Parker. Yeah. And my goal here for you all is to provide honest, realistic, and truthful weather information. But sometimes, some weather scenarios makes things little tricky, right? It's kind of like a puzzle. Which model is correct? Is it the Euro? Is it the GFS? Is it the Canadian? Right now, there are all three models out there on this system that don't have an exact time, like, oh, it's going to hit at this time. They're moving around, and you can see the difference between these models. We go back to, like, say, right here on the GFS, and let's go to the Canadian model. For reference, let's go over to there. You can see that these models are moving around, so it's really hard to predict. I want to be as honest and professional as I can here on the channel, but sometimes I do get a little on the top of myself, especially when it really pops up quickly like that on the GFS or any weather models. You know, we all make mistakes. We all are human, right? And that's The fun thing about weather is you get it wrong once, then you can get it right the next time. It's 5 to 7 inches for Poria. Yeah. 896 millibar near Australia on the GFS. What? No. Near Australia, is there like a cyclone of the demon over there? Oh, holy cow, yeah. Okay. Wow. What a cyclone over there. Yeah, they call them cyclones in Australia. They're not typhoons, they are not hurricanes or cyclones. Wow, that is a very strong cyclone. Wow, you were not wrong about that. Jeez. And yeah, a couple of my some of my audience did tell me you should actually track cyclones in Australia. I'm looking into doing that, but it's not as easy as you might think. I do want to pertain myself to the United States because that's where a lot of us as humans live. Not that no one lives in Australia or in Europe or in China or in Canada, but really my home base here is in the United States. Although I don't cover much in the United States weather department in the summertime because of hurricane season. So, I mean, that's kind of enough right there, not talked about the U.S. Because what it would basically mean is, I could, if there's nothing going on in the United States, and I could talk about a cyclone in Australia, but we'll see. Down the road, maybe I will. I'll stretch my arms out a little bit, but not right now at the moment. Maybe that's a New Year's resolution. Maybe next year, in 2026, not 2025, but 2026. That's probably could be one of the New Year's resolutions. Me getting 60,000 subs and me doing Australian or Indonesia, Indian Ocean cyclone updates and stuff. I would rather do that over, say, far Western Pacific because I don't even speak Chinese, Japanese, Taiwanese, or anything. Tagalog, I don't speak those languages. So if I did anything, Perth, I can, some of these cities, Shark Bay, I understand, Margaret River, not very hard words to pronounce here, but like I cannot read any of these names over here like in, say, China. Yeah, South Carolina, not going to probably get a whole lot out of this. I don't think it's just going to be rain. Because again, the system is just far enough north and there's enough warm air advection coming out of the south where I think you stay with rain. What's up, Xander? Is it possible for freezing rain in northern Alabama? It is certainly possible, depending on what model run comes true. Right now, the GFS and the Euro took freezing rain away. However, the Canadian is your friend. Well, if you like freezing rain, maybe you don't like freezing rain. I hope you don't because that's not fun. It's not fun if you like it. But yeah, northern Alabama does get some freezing rain, just a little bit, probably maybe about 1/100th of an inch, maybe 5/100ths of an inch. But the majority is no. I don't think you're going to get hardly anything out of that. But it is not to say that it does shift further south, and it's like, oh, okay, I guess Alabama is getting freezing rain, But you're not going to be looking at an inch. If you're asking for an inch of freezing rain, yeah. My answer is no, you're not going to see that much. I'm in D.C. Should I expect major snowfall? You're in Washington, D.C., where the president lives, right? On the GF or the Canadian model, on the Euro, let's just do the Euro. So Washington, D.C. is way over here, by the way. So at this time, probably you're on the cusp. It's going to be a wet snow because, again, our 10-1 ratios there are kind of on the lower end. So you could see up to about 1 foot of snow. There have been some model runs been showing that. The GFS model's not as excited about significant snowfall in that area. The Euro has been very aggressive, though. The Canadian has been kind of Willy Wonka crazy. It's been showing rain. Some runs it's showing rain. Some runs it's showing snow. Some runs it's showing sleet or freezing rain. Right now, I would say probably on the order of about 2 to 6 inches of snow you'll probably see at the moment. What about North Carolina? North Carolina, northernmost, you might see some freezing rain, but that's about all you're going to see. And some of the Appalachians, some of the valleys could see some significant accumulations of ice there. How much in central Illinois? So central Illinois, you can get 3 to 5 inches of snow. Alaska, please. Hey, we got an Alaskan. How is it up there in Alaska, Scott Ruck? I'm sure it's been quite cold. They're getting the Arctic outbreak that, well, us humans living in the north. Well, I don't live in the northern tier of the United States. Hey, I'm planning to move there eventually. We'll see if that actually follows through. Let me see if I can find Alaska here, though. Yeah, let me do Alaska really quick because that's where the cold air originates. So, yeah, Alaska's definitely cold. Fairbanks, Alaska, it's cold. It's frozen up there. Temperatures, yeah, you name it. Negative temperatures up there, and it's going to be that way for a while. It's winter. That's normal. You don't want to see temperatures like this. This is absurd. Like, literally 40 degrees above normal. That's ridiculous up there. But yeah, you'll have this cold Arctic outbreak for a little bit. Let's see what those wind chills will feel like in Alaska. Oh my goodness, yeah. Alaska going to feel like negative 50 degrees. Be pretty absurd, pretty cold. And that's what's coming to the U.S. Actually, by the way, let me see our North America sector, because that kind of shows a more broader view for our humans that live in Canada. Now, this is where the cold air really is. Over the next 3 days, it's way up here. But yeah, it's going to make a visit eventually. Some of that's going to break off. Which, by the way, the coldest time of the year in Canada is actually in late January, early February. So actually, your average temperatures there still cooling down, still getting colder. Even so, our days are getting longer. It's hard to believe, right? They're actually getting longer. How about Cincinnati, Northern Kentucky area? Cincinnati. So, Northern Kentucky area. Let's go back to the localized sector. Let's go back. So, for the Cincinnati, Kentucky-ish area, definitely looking at a very wet snow. I mean, probably like a 9-1, 10-1 ratio snow. So, you're looking at about, I would say, my estimate, probably like maybe 7, maybe 8 to 12 inches. About 8 to 12 inches. Yeah, Jody, Samari, I do think it's a La Nina winter. The SOI index, the 90-day average, has dipped to positive 7. So that means overall in the last 3 months, the SOI, the Southern Oscillation Index, has been in that threshold. So we are in a weak La Nina. We are experiencing weak La Nina conditions. What's the snowfall forecast for Missouri? So northern Missouri you're probably referring to. You could get a foot of snow easily. Probably a foot and a half. Maybe 12 to 18 inches. Can you check it out for snow totals? I can take a look at snow totals on the European ensemble. Let's see. That far, it is still worthwhile looking at our snowfall totals. So yeah, on the European ensemble forecast, looking at about 8 inches of snow. Again, all 51 different versions to making an average. So this is basically your average snowfall totals across different members that run the European supercomputer. And what they're showing right now is about 6 to 8 inches, maybe in some areas even 9 inches. One thing's for sure, look at the consistency up here. Look at how much snowfall these areas, like in the Appalachians as well, in the northern Appalachians, including the Smokies, as well as Erie, Pennsylvania, some of the Great Lakes, could get a foot and a half of snowfall from the ensemble, which means there's pretty good agreement that these areas, Lake Erie, Lake Ontario, could end up getting some good accumulation. Des Moines, Iowa, on the European ensemble, 2 to 5 inches of snowfall is anticipated for Des Moines, Iowa, with very cold temperatures arriving. You all asked for where is a cold air. Well, guess what? It's coming. But that means for my area, it's going to be warm and dry and boring. Oh, I hate it. You guys, I understand. You guys want the cold weather and the snow. Have at it. Yep. Lake effect snow, Scott. Yep. What's the temperature in your location, Scott, in Alaska? What's the current temperature there right now? Like, at this very moment, what's the current temperature? You think New York City could get a lot of snow? Not with this storm, no. You're not going to get a lot of snow at all. I'm sorry if I said that. You're only going to get probably about an inch or 2. It's not going to be anything like, oh, it's going to be a lot of snow. I mean, in this run, you're not going to get anything. How about that? Maybe a dusting at most, and that's about it. Yeah, I feel bad for some of you. I've seen some of the comments on my last video like, this is bull crap. I don't get snow, but areas to the south do. This is freaking ridiculous. You know? I'm sorry, it's just how the weather pattern works. Imagining this, you all. Want to see something? You want to see something really crazy? And you'll be... I'm jealous of you guys getting snow, actually, and getting the eventful weather. Let's actually go and look at this right here. Okay, I want to show you something. I don't see how it's fair that you all are getting troughs of low pressure. Like, look at the United States here. Look at North America. And look at the West, all right? Watch how the West gets that ridge, right? It just stays there. It doesn't move at all. It doesn't move. That ridge just stays on top of us. It's just stuck. When we look at the 18Z run, it's also showing the same thing pretty much. So I just don't understand that. Man, it's just not fair. You know, the pattern that we're entering, it's just like, we get that ridge. It's like, it's a blessing you're staying warm. That's true, Andrew. Can you talk about the January 6th through the 10th southeast possible snowstorm? Is that actually even... Did we look at the entire model? No, we didn't. Let's see. So my take on this is it's very uncertain. It is very uncertain right now. Negative 20 in Fairbanks, Alaska. Holy cow, that's cold. Woo! That is flipping cold. That is flipping cold. I'll tell you that. Hey, it's 44 degrees where I'm at. That's probably like exceptionally warm. That's like triple digit temperatures for Fairbanks this time of the year. Oh my gosh, yeah, it's cold. Wow. That is... Yeah, it's negative 31, negative 32 in some of these areas. Yeah. And it's going to get colder, sadly. It's going to get even colder over the next couple of days. Before you might warm up a little bit. And I mean, warm up there is an understatement. You're still going to be below 50 degrees. Heck with it, you know. My outside says negative 39. Wow, that is insane. Wind chill probably negative 42 there, negative 43 if there's even any wind. So my take is what really irritates me is I don't want to pick on a YouTube channel. I'm not here for that. I want you all to understand. I'm not here to pick on a YouTube channel, but it really makes me upset when YouTubers look 2.5 weeks out into the future and they see this big, massive snowstorm and they're like, oh, this winter storm is going to be historic. Get ready. I mean, I blend things up a little bit more. I mean, I am not so confident about what goes on over here in the long term just because there's a lot of moving pieces. You got an amplified ridge over here across the west. You got a trough over Hudson Bay. You get this northwesterly flow. This is a suppressive storm phase with this northwesterly flow. You're not going to get a lot of systems. You need a trough kind of like this that kind of comes over the Rockies. You need some inside sliders that come out of California, and then they go into the southern plains, and then they get picked up by the jet stream, and they move like this into the northeast. That's more of your Snowmageddon type setup. We're not seeing that here on the European model. And all we're seeing is, well, lake effect here and there, land effect here and there of itsy bitsy little snowstorms that are just like little itsy bitsy snowstorms. Are not really impactful at all. It's this cold, dry Canadian air that's just not going to allow a lot of big, massive snowstorms. Now, okay, the GFS model showed this. Okay, we understand. Okay, the GFS model showed this, but please understand, one model is not one thing, and people are focused on, oh, January 10th or January 11th. Oh my gosh, there's a big snowstorm for the southeast. Okay, let's look at this. What did the 06Z run show last night? Okay, it did show a little bit of snow down there. Okay, that's in the works possible. What about the 12Z run? Maybe a little bit. Just like a little flurry or two. Okay. Oh, what about the 18Z run? Okay, it's back. What about the 0Z run? It's more for the eastern seaboard at this point. Okay. And that's even far enough offshore where it's really not a nor'easter. So there's a lot of what ifs right here, okay? Which, by the way, I rarely promote a non-weather channel, but I highly encourage you all to go watch the YouTube channel after this live stream. Go watch What If, and I will tell you what, that YouTube channel is freaking cool to watch. Like, he does hypothetical stuff like, what if everyone lived in the United States? Like, what if 10 billion people lived in the United States? You know? Or what if we had the worst snowstorm in the entire world? Or what if the United States was located in Antarctica or Arctica, you know? So, there's a lot of what ifs on the models here. And right now, I'm looking at pattern recognition. So what pattern recognition is, how do we get a storm down here? So let's look at the 500 millibar level and let's see. Okay, southwesterly flow, that's doable, right? But let's see if this trough here comes on down like this. So it retrogrades and this becomes more negatively tilted and rotates up like that. Okay, so if we look at our last model run, the 18Z run, your trough was right here. And notice where our northwesterly flow is. It's more in the Rockies, and you got enough room of southwesterly flow. And this is why we had a blockbuster snowstorm on the GFS because, well, where the pattern sets up, okay? I'll tell you what right now, it is going to be cold through the middle of January. That is a guarantee for the Midwest. Does this spawn any big master snowstorms? That is to be announced, okay? There's a lot of moving parts. We can only focus one storm at a time. I know you all are ahead of the game and like, oh, did you hear about that January 9th, 10th, and 11th snowstorm? That looks pretty substantial. All right. Here's another way you can look at this. So let's look at our ensembles. So our ensembles are going to tell us something too, right? So let's look at the ensembles. All right, we have a trough there. What about the 18Z run? Okay, so this trough is a little stronger in the eastern seaboard, but notice what is our flow doing? What's our flow doing in the eastern seaboard? It's coming out of the west, right? You got this westerly flow. That allows, if any storm develops over here, which is classic for a nor'easter, it's going to go offshore like that. It's just not going to be pulled around. It's not going to start here and go like that, like what a classic nor'easter will do, which gives a lot of these areas quite a bit of rain and snow along the eastern seaboard. Okay. So in this case, it's more westerly, so it remains a question mark on if and how will there be a big storm. Okay. However, what I like to look at is our snowfall accumulation chances. So if we look at, oh no, not that, probabilities. So let's look at the probability of 6 inches of snow occurring in this area, actually in a 24-hour period. Let's look at that. So on our GEFS ensemble, it's not showing much, but let's look at our European ensemble because there's more members on that one. And there's no chances here. So again, what I'm looking for is chances. And there's not even a chance of at least 1 inch of snow right down here, of at least 1 inch of wet snow is around 10 to 20%. There's a little 20% right there, but around 20%. That's a very low chance, and that's if you see 1 inch of snow. So it's not like I'm not too confident. All right, let's just be a little careful here. I'm not too confident about a big snowmageddon masterpiece in the east and the northeast yet. Okay. I'm just not confident, and that's fine. It's fine to not be confident. And you all can call me, David's dumb. He doesn't know how to forecasting because everyone is saying there's a big snowstorm. Well, that's because they're looking at 1 or 2 out of maybe 4 runs and taking those model runs seriously, right? So, USA, good question. What if, and here is what if it never snowed in the United States? It'd not be pleasant, but let me ask you guys this question. I love the what ifs. Maybe we can play a little game of what if, right? You guys up to doing that? Hey, New Year's, Happy New Year's to Mountain Time people, Mountain Time. I love you guys. You guys are lovely. I am so glad you guys are here. Staying up. Your bodies are not tired. And you're just staying up with me. I love this. I love all the entertainment. So let me ask you all this question. What if it never rained in the United States for 50 years? What if it never rained? There was not one cloud in the sky. What if it never rained in the United States for 50 years? I wonder what would happen. Or how about this? What if YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, social medias, any type of social media did not exist? We would all be dead. Well, you would probably have to dig for water or simply go to the Atlantic Ocean or the Pacific and get some water. No rain equals drier air. Yeah. You'd all be screwed. Oh my gosh. I will tell you what. This guy, let me see if I am subscribed to the channel, but oh my gosh, yeah. Yeah, right here. I don't want to play the audio, but this guy right here saw a really, 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 really good hypothetical scenarios. Very good. Very good. Very good YouTube channel during my free time, you know, kind of a what do you call it? Like a wind down of the night, you know. That's what I watch every night. When I wind down, I lay in bed, I'll watch some of those videos. Yeah. What if tornadoes didn't exist? Well, it would be better news, I guess. Hey, I could commentate, all right? So, in this quick documentary, we're going to explain what if, and here is what if it snowed all over the United States. So, winter's going pretty well, right? People are enjoying their winter festivities, people are going to work, and people don't even know that a United States Mageddon snowstorm is knocking on the door. By January 7th, 2025, a big, massive snowstorm takes over the United States. Yeah, how about that? You live in Miami, and you're looking down and you're wondering, why is it snowing here? This doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. It's very weird. Yeah, it's because we have a Mageddon massive snowstorm moving across the entire United States. I'll tell you, as nice as it sounds, the infrastructure in Miami, the roads down there, even bars and restaurants are well adapted to the warmer conditions. Nicknamed the Sunshine State, right? But remember, it's snowing in Miami, Florida. And people, that's kind of like how it goes. I just like how he commentates. It's just really cool. There's even one of what if Earth was like a donut? Or what if Earth was shaped like a pizza? Oh my gosh, yeah. It's hilarious. It really is. Sorry, it's getting to be New Year's here. Any questions, though? Any questions? What's up, Milky Way 6226? How are you doing? But yeah, that show, What If? I'm probably going to watch a little bit of it once the New Year's Day strikes here. Once I get head to bed. Because I've got to be up early because I got to keep you all updated on this winter storm. Lincoln, Nebraska. So that's down right over here. So Lincoln, Nebraska is gonna get about 2 to 4 inches of snowfall for sure, and it's probably gonna be more of a higher ratio, more like a 15 to 18 in 1 ratio snow. So it's gonna be a little more drier snow because it's colder. That air's coming out of the north, so you're further north, so it's gonna be cooler and it's gonna be a little drier. So of course you're gonna get a drier snow out of that. It's gonna be windy and it's gonna be a lot colder. So yeah, Lincoln, Nebraska is certainly gonna get some snow out of this. What if it snowed all over Hawaii? Yeah, it would not be pleasant. Or how about this? what if Earth did not have water? Like none of the planet. Or, how about this? Let's make this. What if water switched places with land? So let's just say the United States was an ocean, and the oceans today were land areas. I wonder how that would be. I'll tell you, it would not end very pleasant. All 395 million people in the United States would most likely not survive. It's just crazy theoretical stuff like this guy talks about. It's literally hilarious. I mean, you literally gotta watch this guy. I mean, let me go back to his channel because we're kind of done talking a little bit about weather. We're just kind of waiting for the last 45 minutes of New Year's. I wish I can play this guy's stuff, but I don't want to get copyrighted. But I can show you the thumbnails, and you guys can go check it out yourself. I mean, this guy is hilarious. I mean, I love this guy. But, like, he does different things. Like, Earth is a pizza. Earth versus Mars. It's just different things. You know? Asteroid in 2024, and he'll say, like, look at right here, into the other side. What if we were able to travel to the other side? And, like, it just... it's fantasy. It's fiction. It's really good. It really is. What if we destroyed a black hole? That's a good one. I'll probably watch that one next. 5 seconds on Io, which is a moon. How many Earths can fit inside each planet? Simulation. And then there's one. What if you ate a burger on the moon? Don't drink the water. What if you landed on Kepler? And then it'll say, what will Earth be like 100 years from now? And it's just different things you can look up. It's really good. I know, Tyler. I'm so excited. My New Year's resolution, Tyler, by December 31st is to have 60,000 or more. I want to emphasize that, or more. Let's go beyond 66,000 by the end of 2025, folks. We can do it. We can do it, actually, if you subscribe and show your support. And, of course, watch this channel as often as I can. I do want to apologize, though, for the absence of uploading until literally a couple of days ago. Yeah, during the holidays, the store is high demand. So that's why I was not able to do a whole lot. I was working literally 40 hours a week for 2 straight weeks. This is the first week in a couple of weeks that I'm actually getting enough time to do YouTube at least. And my New Year's resolution actually is to be on a better schedule at least. Yeah. I got the calendar set up, and I got a new iPad, by the way. So you can see, got the new iPad, and yeah, I'm glad. Well, I got a new iPad for Christmas. I got money for Christmas. I got gift cards for Christmas. And look at what I got. Read that. Let's make this a little bit bigger. You got a PS5, Tyler? Awesome. Read that. Yeah, I know, right? Tell me the forecast for North Carolina. So yeah, for North Carolina, definitely gonna depending on exactly where you live, like if you're in the extreme northwestern North Carolina, that's where you have the freezing rain, but mainly a rain threat for most of North Carolina. Hopefully I'm not too loud. I feel like I'm a little loud. Let me turn down that a little bit. There we go. Thank you so much, Love Tina 2010. Did you see the guy in space try to wring out a wet cloth in space? It didn't wring out. It stayed on the hands of the man. Yeah, that's because space is mostly a vacuum. And it's amazing, you know, after watching some of that guy's videos like the what ifs, you know, he talked about the universe, and it's amazing how big the universe is. I mean, you got to realize in light years how, like, 1 light year is extremely far. I mean, I'll tell you, the Voyager missions that left the solar system, I think it was like 1976 something, are barely to the Kuiper Belt already. And that's not even a light year. It just goes to show you. We haven't gotten any snow in South Dakota, and it's making me angry. I know, Tyler. I know, brother. I know, buddy. Hey, Tyler, did you see how much ice could accumulate in some areas, though, like in southern Illinois? It's the Tyler storm. Yeah. Must I mention us southern states? Yeah, Milky Way, yes. The deep south. You know what? This whole time I'm about to cry. No, I'm not literally about to cry, but I forgot to share with you all the severe weather aspect. There is now looking more likely than not that there will be a marginal to slight risk of severe weather for the deep south locations like Louisiana, Arkansas, Mississippi, Alabama. Perhaps by Sunday, again, if we look at the Storm Prediction Center, let's see if they're even talking about it. Of course they're not. It's too far out. But predictability, there you go. There's your predictability for days 6 and 7. So it is pretty far out in the SPC eyes, but there is that potential that there could be some, severe weather down there. Yeah, the biggest threat for any severe weather in the deep south would likely be a few tornadoes and some damaging winds, because our wind fields are favorable. We have westerly winds, and then at the surface, we have more southwesterly flow. This is not, actually, yeah, we do. Yeah, actually, we may get some decent veering in this area, actually. Say from Mississippi into Alabama again, we may get some decent veering because you have southerly winds at the surface, and then they veer over, they back at 850 millibars to the southwesterly direction, and they continue to back all the way up to 500 millibars for more of a west-southwesterly flow. So to be quite honest, we got to watch that. That has to be watched. That might make things a little interesting with this winter storm. And let's hope it does not happen on Sunday, but it looks like it will, because you know what Sunday is. Usually I'm not available on Sundays. My New Year's resolution is to actually commit to storm chasing. That's a good New Year's resolution, Tyler. My viewer, my buddy, my human. David, can you look at Rio Rancho, New Mexico for any snow? Sure. So New Mexico is not going to get any snow, period. How about that? Yep. No snow at all. Well, if you want snow, it's going to have to probably wait until the 14th or the 15th of January. It's going to be really far out, and I'm not even going that far out in time anyways because it's too far. Yeah, Bobby, I saw your message. David, will this be a perfect snowstorm for Cincinnati area? So for the Cincinnati area, you're gonna get some decent snow. Perfect? Maybe not. There might be some freezing rain in the mix of that, maybe some sleet, but you do look to get anywhere between about, I would say anywhere between about 6 to almost 12 inches. How much ice for Southern Illinois? Yeah, it's about a quarter to a half an inch of ice. Yeah, it doesn't look good for Southern Illinois. Certainly not. That's a look at the ice amounts, by the way. By the way, if you all are new and you do like the content, be sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel. You guys are really awesome. Boy, if we could actually hit, I don't think we'll hit it tonight. We could actually hit 34,000. I don't think we will because we can't do that in 30 minutes. That would be a good start to the new year. Hey, unknown. How are you doing? There's a lot of the unknown that we don't know about, right? We always learn as we go, right? There's a lot that is unknown about why these winter storms develop in the first place, even so we know how they develop. So welcome, unknown, to the YouTube channel. Yeah, this is the ice that is going to lead to a lot of power outages. Believe it or not, it is going to be a headache. It is going to be a problem. Thank you so much, Unknown. I'm glad you're liking the channel so much. But yeah, for those that are curious, I will have an upload out. Let me see what my schedule tells me to do. Because I'm not available after 1 p.m. tomorrow. That is today for most of you. So let's see. So yeah, I will have that video out by at least noon tomorrow, maybe even by 1 o'clock. Actually, I will have it out at least by 1 o'clock in the afternoon tomorrow. Or today, for a lot of you. So this afternoon. And then maybe we'll have to go live again. Do another live discussion on this winter storm. Probably around 8 o'clock. We'll do 8 o'clock, maybe, based on my schedule. And then I'm good to go on Thursday and Friday. Yeah, I'm open those 2 days to do YouTube. So, yeah. Will it snow in Mount Pleasant, Texas? Mount Pleasant, Texas. Let's take a look at that. So Mount Pleasant, Texas. Let's see here. That is Eastern Texas, right? So no, it's not going to snow there. Sorry, no snow. Just rain, and may not even be a lot of rain at all. Just maybe about a 1/10 of an inch or less. Because where this storm develops. Because it develops just like literally over you and to the east. It literally takes off. So I'm sorry, yeah, you're not going to get a whole lot of moisture. But thank you for the $2 donation. How bad do you think 2025 will be for severe weather and tornadoes? Because we're in a weak La Nina, I predict we're going to have a really bad severe weather season. I believe we're going to have a pretty serious one. I don't think it's going to be quite as bad as what we had this year in 2024, but it is going to be nonetheless quite significant. I'm not as good at predicting tornado number of tornadoes per year as I am with hurricanes because, it takes an individual system to really get the tornado counts up. But I can tell you how many tornadoes we have had so far this year, and we have had almost 1,900 tornado reports. Almost 1,900 tornado reports. Yeah, it goes to show you how substantial it has been. In December alone, we have had 90 tornado reports. And let's see if that's even more than last December. Oh, man. Yeah, December of 2023. Oops. You know what? Let me do this. Sorry if I cropped it out again. So December of 2023, we had 0 tornado reports. Let's go back in time. We had 58 tornado reports in 2022. Oh, man, yeah. This was the most active December ever on record, I believe. 2021 had 232 tornado reports with a couple of strong tornadoes, it looks like there. Yeah, that's the Mayfield tornado outbreak of 2021 of December 10th. And then this is one of the more active. 2024 had 90 tornado reports. So pretty elevated as far as a December tornado number goes. ...2023 was a low tornado season. Let's see. Did we not have any... What? Did we not have any tornadoes at all in 2023? How is that possible? I don't know if the report thing is broken, but no tornadoes in 2023. That's crazy. I think 2011 was the more active. Wow. This year was even more significant than 2011 with the tornado numbers. Wow. 1,800, like I said. Wow, that's... Yeah, so something happened on their end, I guess. And let's see how many wind reports. Oh my gosh. 1,600 or 16,701 wind reports. Yeah, that's how bad wind damage was. Let's see about the hail. Oh my. Hail reports. Wow. 829 significant hail reports. That's pretty insane. 5,365 hail reports in general. And hey, yeah, a few of those were in California. Every state, I think every state, if I see this correctly, except for Delaware and for Nevada, did not have a hail report. What about tornado, though? I think every state, again, maybe Delaware was at, I think it looks like Delaware. Maine, I think it's Maine and Nevada did not have one tornado report. So, yeah. It's a little insight. I think this year, if I know correctly, was the most significant severe weather season ever on record. We had a high risk, a couple, I think one of those. So, okay, the ball's dropping here in 25 minutes, folks. 25 minutes. before a revolutionary into the future we go. Can I do a storm update from the model run? I did one. I did my briefing. All I'm gonna say is that the Euro is pretty aggressive with this, and it's the fastest. So it wants it to develop as early as Saturday, early afternoon, versus the GFS model is definitely a lot slower. Yeah, it's definitely a lot slower. It wants it literally to develop Saturday night. Can you do a storm update for Texas? Probably with the model run, correct? Hopefully. If you're referring to storm reports, I just showed those. And Texas, yeah, is plotted out there with a lot of tornado reports this year. Oh, GFS. So yeah, the GFS is a little bit more significant for eastern Texas, but still in general between about a tenth to a quarter of an inch of rain, maybe a little bit more with that. And for the deep south, definitely a lot of rain and again that chance of severe weather. I guarantee they'll probably have a marginal or slight risk out. Could go even higher than that. Because that's a dynamic setup right there. There's a defined warm sector where we get warm air off the Gulf. The Gulf is running at near record warm levels for this time of the year, so it doesn't surprise me if we do get a slight risk out of this one. Corbin, Happy New Year to you. Can we get snow totals for Baltimore? Yes. Baltimore. How about that? Baltimore. So Baltimore is going to get... So right now, Baltimore looks to get about 5 to 10 inches. 5 to 11 inches. So World Image, how are you? So those are your snow totals on the Euro. The reason why I'm using the Euro, actually, we're just going to stick to the ensembles because there's some wiggle room with this. And the 10-1 ratio would make sense. So this is all 51 different members making an average. It's a blend of the average. Very well, Gabriel. Yeah, the Gulf really just terribly warm. However, the only good news I will say, despite the Gulf literally much warmer this year, what I will say is that the global oceanic temperatures have come down a little bit. So our global oceans are not as warm as they were. You can see they were at 0.3 degrees Celsius. Oh, and that's not being captured very well. Oopsie doopsie. So you can see right here, they were at 0.3 Celsius, and now they're coming down a little bit on an average. They're warming back up again to 0.2 or 0.2 degrees again. But they did get down to 0.15 before, which is better. I've seen this as high as 0.41 Celsius before. Actually, it was almost 0.5 Celsius in a global, the entire globe, literally. So water temperatures have come down in a global standpoint. So the orange is warmer than normal sea surface temperatures, and the blues are below average sea surface temperatures. That's what it means, Chops. 10 is better than 1. Yeah, well, on a snowfall perspective, depending on how you look at it, yeah. Here in Newark, Ohio, I haven't had a winter storm like this in years. Oh, I know. It's pretty unfortunate. The drought, it's just, you haven't had a lot of meaningful precipitation. It's been really, really, really dry. And that's concerning. That really worries me. So, and here's the drought monitor. Let's go to the drought monitor really quickly. Hey, you're not in the worst drought conditions, at least, though. Like it was recently, you're still, some counties are still in the severe drought, but it's not as bad as it could be, though. Like, boy, look at southwestern Texas, exceptional. The one and only area that has exceptional drought right now. And sometimes these weather patterns do this. You know, you get stuck in these weather patterns where it doesn't change. Like what we're going into right now is a really insanely negative AO right now. It's going to be a big problem. And your AO is also negative. So that's what's going to trigger these Arctic temperatures. And that amplifies the ridging across the west. You know, the ridge is much stronger than it should be. And this is going to bring in a lot of warmer temperatures. But you know what? You guys could have it. You guys could have the active weather. We have had our active weather pattern since November for like 2 straight months already. So I won't complain. I'm not going to complain. You guys could have it. Do you have charts for normal snowfall amounts in the state? No, I do not, unfortunately. Actually, you know what? I do. Hold on. Average snowfall in the USA. How about that? Let's see. So this is, I don't know how accurate this still is, but it should be fairly accurate still. So I need to get the chart out. So basically, areas that are in the lightest green, like right here where my mouse is, that's 6 to 12 inches. So areas like up here, look at this. I mean, like Watertown, New York, you average 150 plus inches a year on an annual basis. And then the Sierras, of course, in California, you get a lot of snow. But yeah, I mean, Indiana, you can get up to 30 inches of snow a year. Northeastern Ohio typically gets literally like 3 to 5 feet of snow a year. So yeah, you do typically get quite a bit of snow. But down here, where this storm is happening, you get about 6 to 12 inches. And then up here a little further, you typically get up to 18 inches. So yeah, your normal snowfall may fall just within this one storm as it goes across. I don't have Alaska on here. It does not show Alaska for some reason. There's nothing that shows Alaska. But I'm sure Alaska, somewhere rather, Alaska does get snow. Everywhere in Alaska will get snow sometime somewhere. Because you guys are so far north in latitude. By the way, Scott, Ruck, since you do live in Fairbanks, it sounds like, Alaska, what's the warmest it gets there in the summertime? I'm always wondering, how warm does it get there in the summertime? And I always like looking at the sunlight, the day and night, well, not the sunset thing, the Lumos app, and I always look up Fairbanks, Alaska. It's this little app that I have. I don't know if you guys can see that. Oh, we are nearly 15 minutes away now. 15 minutes away from our celebration. There is a Lumos app that I like to use, and it tells me how high the sun gets during the day. And right now for Fairbanks, let's see. I could not even imagining what it feels like to live in Fairbanks, Alaska this time of the year. Yeah, the sun during the day is 2 degrees above the horizon. That's crazy for solar noon. 75 at most. Wow, that's warm. That is actually quite warm for Alaska. Maybe that's where I'll have to take a vacation one time. I don't know if I can do it in the summertime. Or the wintertime, I meant. But yeah, it looks like Alaska on the ensemble is really going to warm up again. Really warm temperatures. Which is not normal. That's concerning because of that big ridge. That strong upper level ridge is going to be really pumping in. All that warmer air. That's pretty concerning, actually. That is really, really insane. Summertime 75, but then wintertime it's just straight on cold. Well, that's if nature obeys the same rules. Yeah, I got to see the solar eclipse. I went down to Texas. And you want, okay, so here's a little bit of a background story about me, Scott. I would love to travel north. But you know what's funny? You know how far south I've been able to travel? All the way down. Let's see. Let's go down the map here. I went as far south as Puerto Vallarta. Puerto Vallarta. That's where I went down to. That's the furthest south I went, and that is at a latitude. Oh my goodness, I wish it gave me a latitude. Yeah, it's a latitude of 20 degrees north. That's the furthest south I ever went in my entire life. But yet, you know what? The furthest north I have ever been was Boise, Idaho, which is literally, let's see, 41 degrees north latitude. I would love to go as far north as, say, like Vancouver or even in this case, Fairbanks, Alaska. Because Fairbanks is 64.9 degrees north in latitude. What is it? And let me ask you this. What is it like when it's, I mean, you only get like 3 or 4 hours of daylight in the wintertime. What is it like? Tell me, what is it like? But then in the summertime, it's not light all the time. It never gets completely dark. It must be very weird. I mean, it's like, ugh. Imagining stores being closed at like 1 in the morning, but yet it's still daylight outside. All right. New Year's is coming in very soon. We have 12 more minutes. 12 more minutes to New Year's. And I want to thank you all for supporting the channel thus far. I mean, we're going on 2025 here. I started this channel in 2022, I think. Man, it feels longer than that. Let me see here. Goes on my About page. I shouldn't be forgetting about this. Yeah, 2022. That's what it was. September 14th. You can mark it right here. Seniority date. Let me go right here. On my About page, you can find it there. Joined September. By the way, these upload times are not very accurate. I have to do something about that. I really do. That's not very accurate. I don't think I followed any of those times very well. So, yeah, because work gets in the way of things, right? It can get depressing, but you manage. I love to walk the hikes, keep the mind thinking. Okay. Nice to know, Scott. I know in the wintertime it gets very depressing because it's like, I mean, literally, let's see, it's dark there right now, of course. It's been dark there since like 2 o'clock in the afternoon, right? Well, at least when the sun perspective, but sky glows after that. Yeah, it's been dark there in Fairbanks Sun coming up at 10:55 in the morning. Man, that's late. And during literally the 22nd, about the longest, shortest day of the year, sun doesn't come up until 11 in the morning, and it sets at like 2:30 in the afternoon. That is, yeah. I have no car or snowmobile in the summer. Okay. Pennsylvania storm. Pennsylvania is going to get in on the snowy action, but mainly to the south, like southern half of Pennsylvania. Weather maps from weather sites. This is from WeatherBell, folks. So if you want to get WeatherBell, it is not free. There is a subscription. Okay, so the donations I get on the channel, the amount of sales I get, the income goes to these websites. Okay, it comes out of my monthly expenses for weathermodels.com, for WeatherBell, for Radar Omega. That's one of them. What else? For other weather subscriptions as well. So, but yeah, WeatherBell is one of my favorites because the navigation is very easy. You can scroll down here and pick. I mean, go to maps. So if you go to the home page, ball dropping in 9 minutes. You can get your list of different maps here, and then let's just say I want to look at the APHIS model, which that's how I say it. You guys don't have to say it APHIS, but I say APHIS, European APHIS, ECMWF, which is the AI model. And I can just pick different things, what the model offers. Or then I can go look at my ensembles. What do my ensembles show me? And then I can just go look at the probabilities. I can look at teleconnections. So right now the AO is negative, and that means that's why it's going to be getting cold for the Midwest. That's the whole background propaganda on why it's going to be cold. The NAO is negative already, so that's well said, well established. And then you can look at the UK Met. You can look at your weeklies, so you can look at what the pattern might do in months in advance. So right now it looks like this ridge should hopefully break down by mid-January. It's not going to last forever, and then maybe the pattern will shift a little bit as we get more zonal flow. But that's on the extended. That's on that one particular model. And then you can look at your control runs and get other, you can see other maps. This is the subscription that I have is like $30 a month. It's $30 a month. So if you're wondering that, oh, wow, I want to get that, but it's $30 a month. You have to have enough money for that. If you don't have enough, that's fine. Oh my goodness, what is the euro doing for California? What? An inside slider. Maybe the pattern is changing after all. Shall we? Is it actually changing on us? It looks like it is. Oh my goodness, and that's a pretty strong valley wind. Oh my goodness. That's a big wind event for California right there. And a dry one, too. Air is going to be pretty dry. It's mid-January. Heck, it can happen. We can get these wind events. Or you can use a free model sites like Tropical Tidbits. Man, I hear a lot of fireworks going off. Yeah, you probably can't hear them on the mic because the mic is, not that powerful. Well, it's powerful, but it can't pick up surround sound. But yeah, there are fireworks already starting to go off here. 6 more minutes. 6 more minutes. But yeah, I love you guys. I appreciate your guys' support. I'll tell you, I missed you all when I was gone for almost 2 weeks. Other than just a live stream here and there, I was like, man, when am I going to get to do YouTube again? So I am so glad I am back. And I'm hoping I am back permanently now that the holidays are behind us. After, well, today's a holiday. Until Valentine's Day, things should be a lot more smooth sailing. Fingers crossed on that. But anyways, if you do want to support the channel, because I do winter weather updates, we just got done with hurricane season, be sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel and enable all notifications. Please do. If you don't enable all notifications like this, make sure it's selected to all. Now, this is not my channel because, of course, on my own channel, this won't show up because it's my channel and I own it. So I'm subscribed to it automatically, right? Make sure it's selected to all. So when you see this on your end and you click on my channel, make sure it's selected to all where it says you'll get all notifications. No talk of the... What's up, Sherry? What about this orange fog? What? I live in Wasilla, Alaska. Ooh, Wasilla. I'm going to have to start doing Alaskan updates and weather updates up there. Wasilla. Let's see where that's at. Oh, that's much further south than Fairbanks, so... Hey, at least, you know, it's not... Well, it gets cold there, but the ocean shelters you guys, so Wasilla. See where our Wasilla is. Okay. Looking on Lumos. Yeah, the sun is about 5 degrees above the horizon, gets a minimum of 3 degrees during the winter solstice. Fairbanks area. Okay, because it's popping up here, down here. So you're in the Fairbanks, maybe it's a little town in that area. So you are in the Fairbanks. So, okay, you are... When you look at that nice golden orange wallpaper. All right, 3 minutes. 3:35. 33. Do you know what's going on with the poison fog? What in the... This was a month ago. There's no poison fog. Maybe Hurricane Lee is poisonous. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding with you, buddy. Check Twitter. Do it for 2 more minutes. What the heck? What in the heck is this? Jeez. Yeah, it's the Pacific Northwest. That's what it is. Not seen a whole lot of it on Twitter, so I'm not, you know. All right, back to how much snowfall. Okay, we literally have, let's see here. We have 20 seconds. 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Happy New Year! Happy New Year, everybody! So, there we go. There goes all the fireworks. Oh my gosh, it's loud outside. All of the fireworks are being lit up. So, yeah, I will talk a lot more about this snowstorm tomorrow or today, because it is today right now. So, I will have a lot more on this winter storm at least by 1 o'clock. Okay? But I do love you guys. I care about you all. And I'm excited to update you all on this winter storm. Today at 1 o'clock p.m. Pacific Standard Time. That will be 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Give me a big hug, you guys. Big hug. Big hug moment. Big hug. Big hug. Happy New Year. Happy New Year. You're very welcome, Cheryl. Yeah, I'm looking forward to a great New Year's resolution with you all here on the channel. I'm counting on myself getting up to 60,000 subs or more by the end of this year. We can do it. We can do it. I know we can do it because we have done it in the past. But you have to help me out. And the only way you can do that is share. You got to share this with your family and friends on social media. Like, literally, like, share it with your family, with your friends, and those friends need to share it with their friends and family, and those friends and family need to share it with their, and it's a snowball effect. That's how marketing works. When you share, you got to promote your store by advertising it, by doing other stuff, okay? But I love you guys. I'm going to head to bed because, for one thing, the schedule says I need to be in bed early so I can get up early and do YouTube with you all. Because if not, then I will be tired. And I do not want to be tired at all. I have a busy day tomorrow after YouTube anyway. So, yeah, I'm not going to be getting a whole lot of sleep probably. But I need to... Because I don't like going to bed at 4 or 5 in the morning. I really don't. It's not healthy for me. And a New Year's resolution means a new year of, well, being healthy and being proactive. All right. Well, anyways, folks, love you guys. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Hit the bell notification for latest updates, like button, and also please share this. All right. Share is caring. As always, have a great night and have a happy new year. And I'll see you back here today at 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. That's 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're going to do another update on this mega, massive, intense winter storm that is expected on Saturday, Sunday, and Monday for this weekend and early next week. All right. Peace out, folks. See you back here in 13 hours.